So Nekit20874 has asked, will I be able to choose between Crusader and Arabic factions? One thing we wanted to do is keep the sort of differences between the factions and the faction system very similar to the original game, so all players will be able to choose between either Arabic or Crusader troops. They'll be able to have both troops in one fight. So you'll be able to recruit Arabic troops to the mercenary camp and Crusader troops to the barracks. The main difference will be if you pick a Crusader Lord, your castle will look, European in its stylings. If you pick an Arabic Lord, you'll have Arabic style sort of, towers, walls, gatehouses, and that kind of thing. So the difference will be mainly visual, and everyone will have access to both sort of faction troops. So Congan Author has asked, if Crusader 2 has to be purchased through Steam, does this mean we'll have to be connected to the internet to play single player? And the answer is absolutely not. Crusader 2 will require Steam to activate, but once the game's activated, you can set Steam to offline mode and play the single player campaign or the skirmish mode as much as you want. The game won't require an always-on connection like the new SimCity or Diablo 3. We know that one of the best things about the original game is being able to just play offline skirmish mode for hours against loads of AI opponents, so you'll be able to do the exact same thing with Crusader 2. So Destroyer 120296 has asked, will Havoc physics and ragdoll effects be used in the game? The answer is yes, they will. We've spent quite a lot of time this time around getting the weight and feel of the sort of castle walls to be just right, so when a catapult blows a hole in the wall, the stones will break apart and fall down sort of realistically with a proper sense of weight. Obviously physics and castle walls are kind of made for each other, but if you just go for the big Michael Bay style Hollywood explosions, it kind of feels like the walls are just made of paper or foam. So we spent a lot of time this time around getting the sort of the weight just right and the way they crumble, and the programmer has done a fantastic job around that. So this time around it'll be believable. It'll feel like the wall is really being knocked down. So the Juan Black Sheep has asked, will the estate system seen in Stronghold 2 and 3 be returning in Crusader 2? Estates will be returning in Crusader 2. They may function slightly differently to how they did in Stronghold 2 and 3, but they'll definitely be included in the game at launch. The main goal really is to recapture the sort of fun and playability of the original Crusader, so we don't want to mess with that, and anything that we add on top will sort of serve that rather than getting in the way of it. So they will be coming back, but it won't interfere with the sort of core Crusader gameplay. So the Unknown Templar has asked, will Crusader 2 feature historical units? Yes, the answer is yes. There will be the Templar Knights and the Sergeant Arms, who are just a couple of examples. The Templar Knight's kind of like a big bruiser type unit. He's able to deal damage, but also take it quite well. He's kind of like a tank, although he's not the fastest unit in the game. The Sergeant Arms is also sort of a well-rounded unit, but he'll have his own special ability, so he can boost the armor of nearby troops with like an area of effect. So yeah, there will be historical units, and they'll each be quite unique to use and have their own sort of tactics on the battlefield. So Max Logan 93 has asked, will it be possible to heal damaged units? And the answer is yes. For the first time in a Stronghold game, you'll be able to heal units. Whether you're playing as a Crusader or an Arabic Lord, you can heal units one by one using the Arabic healer. So he won't have an area of effect ability, it will be an individual heal. So you can't just send like 3 healers in a big army and just make them invincible. But he can be effective if used properly. He can even heal your Lord, so for the first time you'll be able to recover some health for your Lord and even enter him into the fight. That's no longer just a recipe for suicide, and it should alter the dynamics of the game a little bit, which is nice. So this question's from Pedluck 2010 asking, will diplomacy feature in the game? Diplomacy will be in Crusader 2, it will be completely dynamic as well. The player will be able to make and break alliances sort of mid-match, but you should pick your allies well. If you want economic support and gold, it might be good to go with the Shah and make him your ally, but he's not going to be very good in a fight, and he probably won't even get into the fight in the first place. So maybe you should go with the Slave King if you want a good fighter. Things get a little bit more interesting with characters like the Caliph, who are strong and really adept in combat, but a little bit less likely to follow orders. So you have to weigh up your options and sometimes take a gamble with who you're being friends with to win. So Blastodon has asked us, why did your office choose to go with Cisco instead of Avaya phones or even Siemens phones? Now, of course, he or she is talking about our office phones. I don't even know why we have these things. We do our communication on email, Skype, or just by leaning over and talking to each other. So the answer is, I don't know why I had these anyway. I barely use the thing, so I don't know.